Yo, what is up, everybody? Your boy E-Man from the Average Joe Sports Talk Network coming at you with another edition of the Unscripted Sportscast, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm back at it like a bad habit. Took like last week off. You saw maybe a couple of shorts, but last week, Holy Week, needed to a week for just to focus on my faith, focus on uh, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and for those who are Catholic or Christian, big week, strong week, and fully recharged with one mission clear, and that's to keep preaching the word of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and try to live as close as I can, as possible, as good as I can be as a human being in his name. But with that being said, we're back at it to talk some more sports. And we have a lot of crap going on here today, man. So we have a lot of things going on. A lot of stuff's going on this week. Not a lot. I'm over exaggerating because there's really not a lot going on. The NBA is winding down. What, 5 more games left in the regular season. We have the draft in about a couple of weeks. And today, Fernando Mendoza said that, hey, I'm not going to be in person at the draft. I'm going to spend it in Miami with my family and friends. He's going to be the number 1 pick anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I want to talk a little bit of the NBA. I want to talk about a little bit about Cooper Flagg, who is having probably the greatest rookie season of a teenager has ever had in this league. And there's only been a handful of good teenagers in this league. Talk about a little bit of the current standing of the NBA as we inch closer to the end of the season, and take a look at the possibility of who's going to make the playoffs, who hasn't made the playoffs, who has a time, who's going to make the play-in, and where we stand in that scenario. And also, I got to give you my reaction on Megan Rapino and her uneducated, stupid, woke take on the Olympic gender testing that's going to happen in 2028. I'm going to leave that for last because it's one thing your boy hates. I don't want to use the word hate. That's too strong. It's one thing your boy can't stand is hypocrites. And Megan Rapinoe is a grade A hypocrite along with Sue Bird. We'll get to that. All right? We'll get to that. I don't want to get started with that. I want to get started with Cooper Flagg. I'm a Duke fan. Y'all, you know me, man. I wash Zion's balls, Grant Hill's balls, Cooper Flagg balls, because I'm a Duke fan. I love the players that come away from Duke, right? And I knew Zion was going to be big. Injuries hasn't made it to that point. But, when he's healthy, he plays at a different level. I thought Cooper Flagg was going to be good, but not this good this fast, right? And here's why I say that. He was a 17-year-old freshman year in college. Destroyed that season. Player of the year. Should have been a senior in high school. Doesn't matter. Owned college basketball in his freshman year. Gets drafted. I said, all right, different level. We go into the NBA. You know what? I'm thinking best case scenario. This kid's going to average 15 a game, right? A couple of blocks. We know he could play defense. Vertical, up and down the court. He doesn't start. He starts out the season a little slow. I'm like, let me go. He should be a freshman in college right now, right? You know what I mean? We saw the glimpse when he played the USA team as a teenager, 17 years old, in the scrimmage. But every month, just like Luka Doncic did, Cooper Flagg improved and started to go off. Every month, he improved. First big blowout game, he had 35 points sometime around November. Then he blows up for 42 points. All right, in December. Comes back with 49 points in January. And then he has his explosion last week, 51 points, and then drops 45 in the back-to-back. Let's get realistic here. Let's talk to the numbers. Cooper Flagg, as of today, is averaging 21.1 points per game, 6.6 rebounds, 4.6 assists, 1.2 steals. On a little bit under 33 minutes per game. He is shooting 47% from the field, 29 from three, 82 from the free throw line. The number that screams out here is 29% from the free throw line. I mean, from the 3-point line, from 3-point. This can only get better. And you've seen it in March. The man had a monster month. And he shot and he's shooting the three better in the last couple of days. He's going to work on this. He's probably going to end up being a 38%, 35 to 38% three-point shooter. Think about that. He's probably going to shoot over 50% next year because he's going to work on this. He's 82% free throw shooter right now. His game dictates to get fouled because he's a guy that drives it to the bucket. 21.1 points per game. All right. 6 assists. I mean, almost 5 assists, almost 7 rebounds. This is just scratching the surface, folks. This dude is wild. He's already set multiple age-related records during the season. So multiple teenage records. The youngest player ever to score 40-plus points in a game. He had 42 at 18 years old and 359 days. Youngest ever to score 50-plus point, had 51 at 19 years, 103 days. That's insane records. This kid just turned 19 back in December. Let's compare this to the top teenagers who has graced the court. LeBron James, the most well-known, right? LeBron is the most well-known teenager out there, right? Hold on, let me hit the comments real quick. Oh, Patriot Sports is in the house. What up, homie? What up, Chris? Good seeing you, dog. Good seeing you. Thanks for popping in. So, LeBron James, his first season, he was 18-19, averaged 20.9 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, 5.9 assists, 41% from the field, almost 42, played 79 games, earned Rookie of the Year. You know, Carmelo Anthony at 19, 21 points per game, 6.1 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 42%. All right, he won Rookie of the Year. And they were a playoff team as well. The Denver Nuggets were a playoff team that year. Kevin Durant at 19 years old, 20.3 points per game, 4.4 rebounds, 2.4 assists, 43 points from the field, 43% from the field. Kevin Garnett at 19, 10 points per game, 6.3 rebounds per game, 1 block per game, 49%. Limited role, but strong efficiency, you know, from going straight to high school, from high school to the NBA. Dwight Howard, Tracy McGrady, Kobe Bryant had limited minutes. More recent, like Victor Wembanyama, had a solid but lower volume outputs. Were not full-time, high-use players. But those are the 4 more you want to you compare Cooper Flagg with. Carmelo, Luka, Kevin Durant, and Kevin Garnett. Flagg is likely, in my book, stands definitely 3 to 5 all time. Top tier of teenage rookie seasons with these stats. 21.1 points per game, 6.6 rebounds, and 4.6 assists per game. He exceeds LeBron, Melo, Luka, and KD. All right. He has an all-around game. Good rebounder, can pass the ball, slasher, can score, is a pure scorer, takes it to the rack, versatile. LeBron and Luka, he has less assists than LeBron and Luka, but that's not his game. Efficiency and usage, 47% field goal. It's strong for a high volume wing player, rookie, especially with 6'9". And most importantly, he also impacts the floor from both ends. Two-way impact, my man, with steals and blocks. That's something that none of those individuals that I mentioned earlier have, especially Luka. He surpassed LeBron James and several youngest to achieve milestone, 40-point games. Crazy. Cooper Flagg has elite scoring. And like I mentioned earlier, 47% field goal, that's going to get better. 29% three-point shooting percentage, that's going to get better. by like 5 or 6 percentage points. At 82%, I think this kid's going to shoot 90% from the free throw line. You're looking at about 10 more points adding to that scoring. He's going to be a well-rounded stats kind of guy. You know what I mean? But also, not just efficiency, can score, but he's a two-way player. Two-way impact, defense, steals, and rebounds. I think you could argue, yeah, the kid is absolute phenom, man. He is crazy, bro. He goes, oh, here we go. I love a white boy nickname. We got to do better than the main event for this kid. I'll give it some thought. That's true. Hey, the main event, bro. That's not bad. That's not bad, man. The main event. That's actually pretty funny. You definitely. Hey, Eric, you got to do your thing, man. You got to come up and do your thing. My boys from Patriot Sports, man. Shout out to Eric and Chris in the house. But going back to Cooper Flagg, honestly, maybe the greatest rookie, teenager rookie of all time. So he's in a shitty team. That's not his fault. But the kid can ball. He is playing a year behind his age group and is dominating. We might see this might be the next generational talent to take over the NBA. Larry Bird with athleticism. You know, back in the Larry Bird days, he was nicknamed the White Hope. I think they got these kids called now the Exciting Whites. But jokes aside, Cooper can ball. He could definitely ball. That three-point shooting, that three-point shot's got to get better because he has the mechanics. He has the release. He just needs the repetitions, practice in the offseason. I'm telling you, that three-point percentage goes up by 5 percentage points. This kid's going to average an extra 5 points per game, 6 points per game. Sky's the limit for Cooper Flagg. I know Conca has had a good year, but hands down, Cooper Flagg is your rookie of the year. I don't want to see them sharing the award like Jason Kidd and Grant Hill did back in the day because, Canepa's had he's a baller, but he ain't Cooper Flagg level. He's a baller, but Cooper Flagg is your rookie of the year, hands down. It's highway robberies. Cooper Flagg gets flagged. Gets robbed. Highway robbery if he gets robbed for this. But man, Cooper Flagg is no joke. Historic season. The numbers back it up. Better numbers than any of the other teenagers. So arguably the greatest rookie teenager in the history of the NBA. Come at me. Now let's still stay on the NBA tip here, guys. Let's still stay on the NBA tip here. Let's see what we got going on here. The playoffs are upon us, right? It's like 5 games left. 5 games left in the season. All right, Tuesday, April 7. Here's what we got. Only one has clinched number 1 seed, which is the Pistons. And OKC is going to clinch the number 1 seed as well because even though there's a few games, they're right behind. Let me see. Right now, you have Oklahoma up by 2.5 games. All right, with like 5 games left. But I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to shut down Wembanyama because he's hurt. Not hurt because he's banged up. And right now, they're so far ahead of Denver that, they both clinch the playoffs and they can go in as a 2nd seed with no sweat. So OKC, you could count on them being the number 1 seed in the West, hands down. So let's go to the East. Right now, up for grabs is number 2 seed. All right, Boston and New York Knicks. The Knicks, shit, man. Boston is looking dangerous right now with Tatum coming back and getting healthier. That sucks for the Knicks. I'm a Knicks fan. You know, if you haven't noticed by the hat and the the gear back here, the big Knicks, ball is behind me. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. Oklahoma City Thunder, baby. Yeah, they're gonna clinch it. They're gonna clinch it for sure. They do have an excellent team to get this year. Absolutely. Oh, especially I know you. I know you love the. I know my boy. My boy loves the betting on them. Yeah, no, they have a great team. They're gonna clinch that Western #1 seed. There's no doubt about it. So staying with that tip, that's like a given, right? I don't think that's gonna be an issue. Oh man, I'm messing up here with my screen here. Hold on a second. I'm gonna stay away from this screen right here. Boom. Oops. So the Knicks can end up in the 4th seed. This is how crazy it is, right? Even though they clinch a playoff berth, the Knicks can end up from second seed to the 4th. That's kind of where we're at. So right now, Boston, Cleveland, and the Knicks all playing for any of the 3 seeds, any of the top 5 seeds, top 4 seeds, 2, 3, or 4, right there. Atlanta Hawks and Raptors look like they're going to end up, right now, the Philadelphia 76ers, all right, the Charlotte Hornets, and the Orlando Magic, Hawks, Toronto, Sixers, Charlotte Hornets, and they all separated each other by like 1 game or 2. Any of these guys can flop. They could go from the 5th. Atlanta can go to the 5th seed to the damn 9th seed, and be in the play-in tournament. Or not. Toronto, same thing. Toronto can move up or down. For sure, Miami has guaranteed themselves a play-in tournament game at best case scenario. But Orlando, Charlotte, Philadelphia, and Toronto, and Atlanta is still up for grabs. So Atlanta's not safe yet with 5 games remaining last week. And neither is Toronto. All right. And again, play-in tournament is up for grabs, man. Up for grabs. 7, 8, and 9. All right. It's up for grabs. And it could happen to any of these 5 teams: Atlanta, Toronto, Philadelphia, Charlotte Hornets, and Orlando Magic. That's wild. Like 1 or 2 games separate those guys from like being out of the play-in tournament or being in the play-in tournament. Back to the Western Conference. Oklahoma is going to clinch. San Antonio is going to shut down Wemby. So I don't think we're going to see that. That's going to happen for sure. There we go. Live betting that always have they do. Huh? They do. They have a great second half. They actually turn it on. I've had Shai Gilgeous, Alexander, and Hammerstein and Williams in a lot of my parlays this year. They just been delivering. Let me go back. So again, the Denver Nuggets, the Lakers, and the Houston Rockets, and the Minnesota Timberwolves, 4 through 6. This could change. All right, this could change. Denver Nuggets, Lakers, and the Rockets all are clinch a playoff berth. All right. Let me see what I know. The Lakers right now clinch a division, so the Spurs. But right now, Denver, LA, and Houston, those 3 seedings right there can change before now and the end of the season. The Lakers seem the ones to be the most hobbled because Luka is injured. So is Austin Reeves, the hillbilly Kobe. But the Rockets may have an opportunity to move up to the 4th seed, even 3rd seed. Denver has the opportunity to stay there or move down. So that's where it is. And the play-in tournament, for a fact, play-in tournament guaranteed right now is, and this one is clinch a play-in berth right now, guaranteed for sure, is the Clippers, the Trailblazers, and the Golden State Warriors. That's not going to change. They're going into the play-in tournament right here. They're going into the play-in tournament. The Clippers, Portland, that's not going to change. What could change is the Phoenix Suns and the Timberwolves swapping 6 or 7. Those are the ones that are probably Gonna end up swapping. One of those two is gonna be in the play-in tournament. One is not. So real important games, meaningful games right now. Minnesota and Phoenix. Nobody wants to be in that play-in tournament. And of course, meaningful games are the Denver Nuggets, the Lakers, and Houston Rockets because it affects the seeding up or down. But to me, this is the best part of the season for me in the NBA, the playoffs. When they're trying to get into the playoffs, the play-in tournament, this is when I actually watch a lot more basketball. I love NBA playoff basketball. Don't like the regular season. You know what I mean? Just like I don't like the regular season in baseball. It's not like football where I have my rituals every Sunday. So big games ahead. All right. To end up the season, to end up the NBA regular season. All right. Let's talk. Let's end up this show here, man. Let's end up today. Like I said, it's slow time of the year. Not a lot going on. But I want to share what Megan Rapino said about the Olympics requiring women's sports to be played by women, and how she thinks the genetics testing to test and make sure that it's biological women competing in women's sports, it's racist and transphobic. I think Megan Rapinoe is a freaking hypocrite. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you why after I play her latest in the whatever podcast her and Sue Bird have. So let me play you the clip. It's 2 minutes, and I'm going to react to this. But let's get this going.
Is Transgender Day of Visibility. So we just want to wish our trans family the happiest of days. We love you. We see you. We know how trying these times are for you right now, and just wanted to take a moment.
First and foremost, the take I'm going to give you has nothing to do with being a transgender. I could care less what anybody wants to be. That's your problem. That's your business. I live my life a different way. I raise my kids a different way. I believe there's two sexes. All right. But because I don't want to dress as a woman or participate in women's shit because I'm a man, that doesn't make me a transphobic or a homophobic. And my take for defending women's sports, and I think women should play with women and men should play with men, regardless of how you dress or you identify yourself, that's just a fairness level. That doesn't make me a transphobe again. And again, whatever holiday or recognition awareness day, good for you. This is a free country. And the reason why this country allows you to do whatever the hell you want, to identify as a bird if you want to, and not get punished for it, like Middle Eastern countries, like communist countries, it's because it's the greatest land in the world, regardless whether you agree with them or not. But this has nothing to do with with like putting down a specific group, the transgender group, because they identify with women. That's nothing to do with that. This has to do with the safety, but also mainly the fairness in women's sports. Let's finish this before, and then I'll get off my damn soapbox.
To say that. And unfortunately, we have to say that all in the same breath as a really horrible rule that came out from the International Olympic Committee. They've announced a new policy that they're calling, I can't even believe they're calling it this, because it has nothing to do with protecting women. I feel like two people who played at the very highest level for every competition that you possibly could don't agree with this and never felt like this was an issue at all. The protection of the female bracketed women's category. They're limiting people eligible to compete in the women's category to those who qualify as what they're calling, quote unquote, biological females. This will require a once in a lifetime screening of all women's athletes for the SRY gene. And if an athlete tests positive for this gene, they will have to compete in the male category. We already know that biology, as much as we want it to be just nice and clean and tight and perfectly in one category or another, it's not. We know that. So now what we're doing is subjecting everybody, all women and all people who
biology is biology. You're either a male or a female. Plain and simple. Identifying or giving yourself a gender opposite of what you were born with, it's not biology. That's your choice.
are identifying as women to this really invasive testing that only to me just says like, oh, so we're just trying to whittle it down to a certain type of woman. Is that what we're doing? Like, that's really the whole game here. Like, there's been, you know, they sort of like lost the battle on gay marriage and lost the battle on all these things. So it's just like, we're going to have this whole campaign for all these years to just hate trans people, which is such a small percentage of the population. It's actually like on a single hand when we're talking about sports. And just like thread the absolute tightest needle thread that you possibly could. This committee is framing it as based in science, which it's not. And this will ultimately just prevent people from competing within the women's category that they feel like have an unfair advantage. It's just really hateful.
Let's talk about the science first and foremost. And I'm not a scientist or a biologist. Males have one X and one Y chromosome. Females have two X chromosomes. The presence of the Y chromosome, specifically the SRY gene, located, directs the development of male reproductive organs. They're testing for Y chromosomes in the SRY gene. Why? Because it's not fair that a biological male who, a transgender woman, who with today's technology and surgery can look like a woman, chop whatever the heck they want off, but still, you could take whatever depressants or what you call that, immunosuppressant, gene suppressant, whatever. I'm not a professional at that, but you could look like one, but still have biological genes that make you stronger, faster than a woman. Here we have a former, like she mentioned, an Olympic athlete, and it is about science, by the way. Former Olympic athlete who made a living of playing soccer, who no longer plays a sport, now gets paid to grift and spew this bullshit. By saying that this is not protecting women, this is all about an agenda and a narrative in order to keep the transgender community down. No, it's not. The fact that Caitlin Clark is the best women's basketball player out there, A'ja Wilson, dominating women's league, but they would not start in a high school basketball team, and they're professionals. The fact that you could take a high school basketball team right now, championship, put the best high school basketball boys team against the WNBA champions right now, and they lose by 30. Bronny James, who is a sucky-ass player, can dominate the WNBA right now if he puts a wig on, while Caitlin Clark would never sniff the floor. It is about fairness. Male genes athletically are superior. And the fact that when you allow this, you are taking away the opportunities of women's sports. Why did we divide women's sports to begin with and male sports? Because they know they can't compete together. Why there is no issues with transgender men in men's sports? Because they know they can compete, so they don't even try. It's not about putting the transgender community down or being, or being racist against them. No, it's not. It's about what's right and what's fair. I am 48 years old. I could ball a little bit. I got a busted knee. I could barely touch the backboard. But Let me, for 6 months, work out, lift, and shoot for at least 3 hours a day and work out my basketball drills. At 48 years old, who I got a little bit of game left, I could step on a high school basketball team, not going to dominate, but I will get minutes. And this is a 48-year-old man with a torn ACL. You could take a G League player who never made it to the NBA, who has been retired from the G League, Europe, who's gained 20 pounds, but still goes out there and plays rec ball weekly. He could step on the floor of the WNBA team and start and probably average 18 a game. I'm not trying to be a dick here, but let's stop and get off your soapbox, Megan Rapino, because you're a freaking hypocrite. If you were still playing and you had a transgender male in your team who will start over you and take your spot away, you would not be singing this tune, because you already made your career. You could care less about the women, all right, who are losing who lost Olympic rosters, who lost college roster spots to a biological male. And the Olympic is finally doing this because of the last Olympics and Kameen, whatever, the boxer who beat the shit out of every single woman. And then they were saying, no, she's a woman. And then guess what? Y chromosomes come out on the testing. Because this is happening in weight competitions, in lifting, weightlifting competitions, track and field. Come on, Megan Rapinoe. Stop being such a hypocrite. It has nothing to do with a specific person. It has to do with science. Has to do with biology. And you know what? It has to do with fairness. Keeping fairness in women's sports. It's not right that a biological male who ranked 400 in his high school class in the state, in his high school senior year, in track and field, swimming, was the 12th man, the 10th man on the bench of his JV high school team, can get an NBA, can get a freaking college roster on there, can jump in and take a swimming spot in the Olympics, can go and box, dominate, because that person is a male. It's not about transphobe. It's not about being a transphobic. Nothing to do about that. It's about the fairness. It is about the fairness of the women's sports. And also the safety. Stop being such a hypocrite. Because if you were still playing and your roster spot was taken by a biological male who identified as a woman, a transgender male, you will be singing a different tune. Has nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with fairness. I'm tired of, I can't believe this is being defended by women. The feminism movement was always about getting women an even playing field in the world. The glass ceiling, right, in the workforce, how they were not given the same chances in management, in jobs, CEO, upper management. And we finally are breaking through. And now we have the whole transgender movement into women's sports. And we have women not defending women. They're defending men for what they always complained and fought against. There's a glass ceiling in sports, and women don't give a shit about other women. They care more about a biological male playing and dominating in women's sports. Make it make freaking sense. Megan Rapinoe, you are effing hypocrite. I'm done. With that being said, appreciate you all. Thank you for listening. Gotta talk to my boy Jim. I gotta talk to him, see where his schedule is at. I got a birthday party on Saturday, but I should be back before 8. I gotta talk to my boy Jim, see if he's down for cigars and sports. Me and him last one was great with Brent. We got a lot to talk about. And check him out. Check his podcast out. Check my boy Jim, fan of the van, who's dropping episodes daily, killing it. Check him out, fan in the van at X, and check there. You'll be able to know where he posts all his stuff, man. Great audio stuff, man. Appreciate you all. Thank you for listening, everybody. This is your boy E-Man from the Average Joe Sports Talk Network, signing out. We'll see you next time, y'all. Peace. God bless.
Yo.